Hello again to all my food warriors. Welcome back to the channel. Today, this is the first half of our doubleheader. We are going to be making a Tuscan classic salad called Panzanella. This is a salad that usually uses up any stale bread that you might have in the house. But if you live with Coach Joe, there's never any real stale bread going on in the house. We tend to be fairly regular consumers of good, hearty, artisanal, crusty bread. And anything that is left over, we typically dry and we make breadcrumbs with. And so we are going to elevate our panzanella up to another level today by making our very own croutons. And I'm telling you, if for anyone out there who doesn't like salad, throw a few of these croutons in there, and I'm telling you, you will absolutely devour it. It changes the complexion, the dimension of the dish, adds so much by way of texture, flavor, crunch. And just so much satisfaction. And so we are going to start off today by making our very own garlic croutons, and there's a couple of variations on this that we'll talk about a little bit later, but we'll just start with the basic, just a very, very simple garlic crouton. It starts with really, really good bread, but on top of that, we have to make our garlic oil. Now please don't buy garlic oil, that stuff that sits on the shelf. I don't know, every time I open a bottle of that stuff, and I've had people, oh, you got to try this, it's really good. Honestly, to me it smells like feet. It's just not something I want to put in my mouth. And so, to make garlic oil, very, very simple. You make it as you need it. And in this case, we have about 5 or 6 cloves of garlic. And all we're going to do is we're just going to slice up our garlic, 1/4 inch slices, 1/8 of an inch slices, nothing too fancy. It doesn't really matter. All we want to do is get the flavor of the garlic into the oil. So when you start with real garlic, good quality garlic from a good, reliable source, fresh, we throw that right into our pan here, and literally it's 2 ingredients. It's good garlic and good extra virgin olive oil. All we want to do is bring the olive oil up to temperature very slowly, and that way we're going to infuse all of the flavor of the garlic into the oil. We don't want to burn the garlic at all. Once it starts to get slightly golden, we're going to take it off the heat, strain it, and we have freshly made garlic oil. It is no simpler than that. So we'll just take our spigot off here. What I want to do is add about 1.25 cups. There we are, of good extra virgin olive oil into our little pan here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little saucepan, put it on the heat, medium-high heat. I don't want this bubbling and churning. I want this to come up to temperature slowly, and that way we can extract all of the flavor from the garlic, and it'll be beautifully mild, beautifully sweet. So we're just going to let this go. There we are. And now we're going to go right to our bread. So these are 2 beautiful baguettes, artisanal made. All I want to do with these is I want to cut these in half. So I've had these sitting for a day or 2. I did want to dry them out a little bit. I find this works better with a slightly drier loaf than something that's perfectly fresh. So all I want to do here is just cut these down the middle. So I find by cutting them in half first makes a big difference, much easier to work with. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to cut this into 3 strips. Really what I'm looking for is something that's about 1 inch cubed, maybe 3/4 of an inch cubed. That's it. So this little piece we'll throw in our big bowl. And yes, you do need a big bowl. It just makes it that much easier to toss. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to cut these up. Like I said, 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch cube. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's enough to give you a good bit of crunch and a good bit of substance when you throw this on a salad. These end pieces we're just going to cut up as well, and we're going to throw all of this into a bowl. Now really, there's no need to buy croutons. I mean, when they're this simple to make, and I promise you when they're this good, we usually make these, this is easily 1 batch that we make around the house. These always sit on the counter. And every time somebody walks by the bowl, there's a few less in the bowl, a few missing each time. So these are great for just out-of-hand snacking, but great on salads as well. So for all you folks out there who don't like your salad, throw a handful of these on there. You'll be whistling a different tune, I promise you. So we're going to cut the top again into our 3 strips, And then again, what we're going to do is just cube these up. So I will take these two loaves of baguette to task, and I will see you in about 5 minutes once our garlic oil is just about done. All right, we are back. We have all of our bread cut up into our beautiful 1-inch croutons. What I have here is my garlic oil that I've put in a quick ice bath. So when this was ready and I saw the garlic starting to get a little bit golden around the edges, took it off the heat, right into an ice bath, bring the temperature of that oil right down, and that way we don't run the risk of burning the garlic. The last thing you want is to burn that garlic. Burnt garlic is very, very bitter, and that would ruin our croutons here. So what we're going to do now that this is cooled and a little closer to room temperature, we're just going to strain all of this through a sieve. We're going to catch our garlic here. There we are, beautifully golden brown. And we're just going to put this back into our saucepan, and we're just going to let that sit. All we want to do now is just give this a toss. Now, panzanella is a traditionally Tuscan bread salad. It's got vegetables in there as well, obviously, but it's got a fair bit of old stale bread, and it was used as a means of using up any stale bread that was left in the house. Tuscan bread, by nature, is baked without salt, and it's, again, a whole thing historically where the folks in Tuscany revolted against either the king or the magistrate, where there was a tax that was imposed on salt, and they said, you know what, forget that, we're not going to pay the tax, we're just not going to put salt in our bread. And with that, they just developed an affinity and a taste for bread baked without salt. But because we are using just a regular baguette here, it's obviously been baked with salt, and so we're not going to add any salt to our croutons. All we want to do is toss these so that they all get beautifully coated in our garlic oil, and that is all the seasoning that they need. There we are. Absolutely fantastic. Now we're going to bake these. We are going to bake these in a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes, and what we want is for these to become beautifully crispy and beautifully golden brown. So I have a very large sheet pan. This fits the entire width of my oven, and what I'm going to do is we're just going to throw these on here. There we are. As you see, no more oil left in the bowl. If there is a little bit, we can just try and scrape some of that up and just get the last few drops. There we are, right in there. And that is that. So we're just going to spread these out. Simple, but I'm telling you, this is one of those recipes where the end result is so much more than the sum of the parts. And so we want to make sure that we get these to as close to one flat layer as possible. This way they will all brown evenly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to check these every 5 or 6 minutes just to make sure that they're browning evenly. If I need to rotate the pan, I will. But I'm going to throw these into a preheated 400-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. So I will see you in 20 minutes when these are beautifully golden brown and delicious. All right, we are back. We have just pulled our croutons out of the oven. Woo-hoo. They smell and look absolutely fantastic. Now, these are simple garlic croutons. And I would say these are, I hesitate to use the word basic because they are anything but basic. They are simple, but they are not basic. Now, if we really wanted to get fancy, what I would do is I would take about 100 grams of freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Now that they've just come out of the oven, I put them right back into that big bowl while they're still warm. About 100 grams of freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano and about 1.5 tablespoons of dry oregano. And I would just toss those up until the cheese coated each crouton and the oregano just kind of fell into each of those little nooks and crannies. And then we would have oregano scented Parmesan garlic croutons. But we have someone in the house who doesn't quite like that combination, and so we will keep it to the simple garlic crouton variety for our purposes. But just a little hint for you, if you wanted to try that out, that would work just as well. You take them to a whole new level. So what we're going to do as we assemble our panzanella, our croutons are cooling. What I have here is about a 10-inch cucumber that I've simply peeled with a vegetable peeler, and with a spoon I've yarded out all of the little seed pockets on the inside, as I don't want my salad to be very watery, so those have been discarded. I have a shallot that I've peeled, and it's separated into its 2 lobes, and I've got 8 tomatoes here that were on the vine. I've simply washed them and separated them from the vine. I also have here a bowl of some beautiful wild organic arugula, and so now we're going to assemble. As we get down to this, what I'm going to do with my tomatoes, I'm simply going to cut these into 6 pieces. We want these to be recognizable. We don't want them too small, and so as we cut these up, again, we want little wedges so that we have a good bit of size and a good bit of texture. So that's how we're going to cut our tomatoes up. We will slice our cucumber on the bias, and we will cut very thinly our shallot. So I will take care of all of this. I will see you in 2 minutes. All right, we are back. We've got all of our vegetables cut up in our bowl. We're going to start by seasoning these vegetables before we add any of the arugula. So we're going to start with just a little pinch of salt. We're going to go with a pinch of freshly cracked black pepper. We've got our beautiful extra virgin olive oil from Liguria. So we want to make sure we get a good bit of olive oil in there. Very few ingredients in this, so we want every ingredient to be as good as it can be. We've got some beautiful balsamic vinegar from Modena. There we are. And we will just give this a toss. Oh, look at that, absolutely gorgeous. And now we will get our arugula in there as well. This is beautiful baby arugula, nicely peppery. Got that nice little sharp note to it, and that will balance out the sweetness of the tomatoes and the cucumbers as well. So we're just going to get this tossed in our dressing. There we are. Oh, look at the colors. Look at the colors. This is the taste of summer. There we are. Now what we will do is we will simply get this on a plate. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. We've got a plate here. We're just going to get a little bit of everything. There we are. This will easily feed 4 to 5 hungry people. There we are. Maybe a couple of extra tomatoes and a shallot on there as well. Look at that. And now, and now for our croutons. Look at these babies. Look at these babies, how beautifully golden and crispy. We're just going to throw these all over our salad. They're still warm, absolutely gorgeous. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go right down into our salad bowl here, and we are going to get some of that dressing, and we are just going to kiss the croutons. Oh, there we are. Another variation of this dish is you can simply take the croutons, put them into the salad, and toss them with the salad. They're still a little bit warm, so I didn't want them to wilt the arugula, but this absolutely stunning. And now we need a fork. And so here we go. We're going to get right in there. This is absolutely gorgeous. So we'll start off with a little bit of our salad. As these sit in the salad, they'll soften up a little bit, but they offer up such character, such a contrast in texture. You've got the cold, the sweet, and the slightly acidic from the salad. You've got the beautiful, you got the croutons with the crunch, as well as that little bit of a garlic hum. Just absolutely fantastic. This is a lunch that you can have any time of the year, as long as the vegetables that you find are of high quality. But clearly, I'm telling you, these croutons on any salad, whether panzanella, where they're very much at the heart of the salad itself, or on top of any salad, will make a salad lover out of absolutely anyone. Mm. Mm. I do hope you try this. So simple, but the flavors are absolute powerhouses. As always, do like and subscribe to the channel. Do share the content, as that's what we're here for, and that's certainly the intent behind the channel. And as always, this is Coach Joe saying I will see you on the second half of our doubleheader, where we are preparing our Easter dinner. So I will see you on the next one.